back then with another video for Outriders now. In the previous video we looked at some additional skills for both the Trickster and the Devastator that aren't actually available in the demo, and we actually had a look at some legendary sets for them as well, and some of the modifiers and legendary sets are really pretty amazing and they look really fun. So the next character that was requested is a Pyromancer. That leaves just a Technomancer to do last. I will look to do him in the next few days, but today for the Pyromancer then, just like the other videos, we'll look at some additional skills for them we've not yet seen in the demo, because of course in the demo you only get access to 4 out of 8 skills, and we'll have a look at 2 legendary gear sets for them as well. So let's jump in and let's check all this out. Currently then, as mentioned in the demo for Outriders, we have access to 4 skills. So they are Heatwave, Feed the Flames, Thermal Bomb and also Overheat. I'll give a very quick showcase of them for anyone that's perhaps not played the demo yet. However, via the accolades in game we can see the names and a slight description of the 4 additional skills, and we actually have gameplay footage of 2 of them. But the additional skills, they are Volcanic Rounds, Ash Blast, Phaser Beam and then Eruption. Now let's very quickly start off and I'll just show you some gameplay of the 4 skills that are available in the demo. The first skill we have here then is Heat Wave. So if this one, you summon a fiery wave, it deals damage and it inflicts burn on all enemies in a path, and the type of skill this is actually an ignite skill. We then have Feed the Flames next, which is great for pulling enemies out of cover. So with this one, you select and pull an enemy towards you, you deal damage, you drain health and you inflict ash on them as well, and this is an immobilise type skill. We have Thermal Bomb up next. This one is a ton of fun, and when you get a group of enemies grouped together you can do a huge amount of damage. So with this, you select an enemy to burn, interrupt and you deal damage. If killed while still afflicted by the skill, the enemy will explode, and you can see it's a whopping amount of damage they do within a large radius, and this type of skill is classed as explosive and also interrupt as well. Finishing up the skills we have in the demo before we move on to the new gameplay, you've got Overheat. So this one, it deals a small amount of damage to all enemies within a large radius, interrupts their skills, and enemies affected by burn receive a larger amount of damage instead, and the burn will be consumed, and it's an explosive interrupt style skill. But let's have a look at the new ones. That's what you've been waiting for. The first new ability we have some gameplay of then is Ash Blast. So this one, you surround yourself in a huge crowd control AoE. In this instance it puts ash on the enemies and that freezes them in place for a few seconds. Now looking at the accolades, there's actually an accolade for this for applying status effects, not specifically ash, so I'm actually wondering if there'll be modifiers where we can apply different effects to this. But from this footage you can see it's going to be a great ability from a defensive perspective. If you're getting chased down by a group of melee enemies, you can freeze them in place and take them out. From an offensive perspective as well, you can actually freeze a group of enemies and then you can allow your teammates to go in and just smash them. So this looks like a fun and pretty useful ability. The next ability we have here is Phaser Beam. We've got an exceptionally short clip of it, and the accolades don't really give away much about what it actually does either. So from what we can tell from this clip, it is a fire beam as the name would suggest, but other than that I really don't have any information on it. Unfortunately, the animation for it does look nice, but that's all we've really got on it so far. We have 2 further abilities and we don't have gameplay for them, but we do have the accolades description, so I'll quickly run over them. The first one we're looking at is Volcanic Rounds. So this is very similar to the Trickster and the Technomancer in that they can actually add a status effects to the rounds that they're firing on their gun. On those other characters it's actually really pretty powerful. In this instance, not surprisingly, on the Pyromancer it will be burn that you will be adding to your rounds. Then the final ability, before we look at the legendary sets, this one is called Eruption. The accolade description doesn't give much away, it's just saying you need to hit enemies with it to actually complete that. But looking at the tooltip here, imagine it'll be a short range explosion on your character, so if you're perhaps overwhelmed by melee enemies, then you can just fire this off and take them all out. And you'll use the move first where you can turn them into ash so that they can't move, and then you're going to be better placed to use it. That's all the skills for the Pyromancer. As mentioned, let's now have a look at some of the legendary sets that have been teased for them. So the first legendary set then, we have access to 2 pieces and also a gun that isn't part of the set, but it certainly fits the theme going on here. So it's the Lava Lich set, I believe that's how you say it, it's Lich or Leech, not quite sure, let me know in the comments below. But looking at this one here, we've got the upper robes. So the first mod is Pure Power. This one will buff your phaser beam, it increases damage dealt by the skill, it's pretty simple enough. And then you have Dum Dum Bullets, it increases assault weapon damage by 20%, that's actually a real decent amount. Looking at the set bonuses, now when it comes to the sets, what's pretty amazing is you have up to 5 different gear pieces, but you only need to equip 3 for the set bonus to be active, leaving you with those 2 other pieces for a bit of variety in your build. But looking at this, it's called Corpse Scorcher, so with this you increase damage and decrease cooldown of the eruption ability. The next one we have here is the helmet. Now actually looking at the mods on this is the first time I'm looking at them, they look to be exactly the same as the last item, so I'm pretty sure that won't actually be the case. Looking at all the other legendary sets, they don't actually look this way, and I believe the Pyro preview that I took this footage from was one of the earlier ones. But yeah, just the same mods as the last piece, pretty certain it won't be the case. Let's check out the fire themed weapon that they showed off in this same video as well. So this is the weapon that looks to go really good with them from a thematic perspective. It's called the Voodoo Matchmaker. Like what we looked at a moment ago, I'm pretty sure this is very early footage because you can see there's only 1 mod on it and your legendary weapons have 2 mods. The mod looks a bit underwhelming as well. It's critical point, it increases the chance of scoring a critical hit even when not shooting at weak points. Actually, that could actually be pretty decent when I think about it there. But yeah, so that's the first sets we have. As mentioned, it looks to be early gameplay footage, which is why they're not complete. But the next legendary set we have all 5 pieces, and this is most definitely a complete set. So this set here is the REFORGED set. We look at the COWL first, that's the legendary headgear. The first mod is double fun, so with Thermal Bomb the skill can affect 2 targets. That's really pretty powerful because Thermal Bomb explosion is really pretty powerful as it is. And then you've got Big Boom, so Thermal Bomb increases explosion radius by 20%. That sounds pretty amazing, to be honest, affecting 2 targets and making it 20% bigger for each of those explosions. The actual perk on it, or the set on it, is Reforged, so this increases Feed the Flames damage and Thermal Bomb damage by 50%. Wow, your Thermal Bombs are going to hit really hard with this one. The next piece of gear we have here is the upper armour. The first mod is branded, so with Thermal Bomb, enemies affected by the skill receive 40% more damage, and then you have Bullet Absorption. With this one here, it affects Feed the Flames, and this will replenish 20% of ammo in your magazine for every enemy affected by this skill. So if you use that with the ability, that actually puts burn on your ammo. If you're maybe using a heavy machine gun, you might never run out of ammo and you'll constantly have burn on it, so that could be a pretty nice combination. We have the gloves up next here. The first mod doesn't actually buff a specific skill. This is called Unstoppable Force, so increases your anomaly power by 50%. The bonus is equal to 50% of your resistance piercing. So the Pyromancer looks to be a class that will use skills more than actual guns from what I've actually seen, so that makes sense. They've got an ability here that will boost that because your skills are boosted by your anomaly power. The next mod is True Blast. This increases explosion damage by 556 in this instance, so if we think back to what it was before, it's essentially doubling the damage on it. So put that alongside the mod where you can have it affecting 2 enemies, 20% extra range and increasing the damage or doubling the damage as well. That's going to be pretty awesome. The next gear piece is lower armour. With this, the first mod is Flame Grasper, so it will buff Feed the Flames, enable absorption of 2 additional targets, and then Wildfire, so once again we're buffing Thermal Bomb. So with this one, the skill inflicts burn on every enemy damaged by the explosion, so if you don't kill them with the additional damage you're doing on the explosions, you'll be applying burn to them. And then finishing up here we have the foot gear. So the first mod, Power Assimilation, boost your anomaly power by 192 in this instance for each elite present on the battlefield. That's quite situational. And then Nova, this will buff Feed the Flames and increases the skill's range by 100%. That's a huge amount, and if you look at the set bonus, that's increasing the damage of Feed the Flames as well there. So out of all the sets I've looked at, this is possibly my favourite, because Thermal Bomb is an amazing ability and this really does take it to another level, so really pretty awesome. But that is the Pyromancer. Let's look at some of the additional skills for them and 2 of the legendary sets as well, so I hope that has been interesting for fans of the Pyromancer. Just the Technomancer to do next, I'll get them done in the next few days. Now if you've got as far as this in the video, please take the time to leave a comment below and hit the like button, because when it comes to YouTube recommending videos, it's all about the engagement the video actually gets. So if you could do that, that would be very much appreciated. But as always, I hope the video has been helpful. Let me know what you think of everything we've covered in it today in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.